right, we are halfway home here on the Sweat. Let's get to a little puck talk. NHL with, of course, a light slate. 3 games available to you in the NHL tonight. Geoff Ulrich is here, DraftKings contributor. We also have Paul Bruno from RotoWire. Guys, good to see you again, always. And let's get into it. DFS talk, NHL opening faceoff for you. Must roster in daily fantasy tonight, Paul.
Well, there's a couple of high-scoring teams that are meeting in Washington, and they're not playing too much attention to detail. So I'm all over Auston Matthews right at the top of the board, Adam. And I think it makes sense when you consider that he's on the hottest line in hockey right now, and he's rolling 17 points in his last 10 games played, averaging over 20 DraftKings points a game. And Washington is leaking goals just like the Leafs too. So I think he can even make a case for his line mate, Mitch Marner, similarly with 17 points. If you want to look at the Boston-LA game, a couple of tempting options in the Boston top line. David Pastrnak scoring at a very high rate, 11 points and 43 shots on goal his last 10 outings, $8,000 a price tag. And Brad Marchand is back, but only $7,500. It might be the best value of all the 4 of those guys.
You want to talk Bruins top liners, Geoff? Jake DeBrusk's points in 4 straight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a fair point because he's playing alongside Bergeron and Marchand, which, makes those guys cheaper to roster as well. And my must roster would be Brad Marchand. I mean, at 7,500, Paul mentioned, the cheapness in price compared to guys like Ovechkin and even his own teammate and David Pastrnak. But I mean, he's the one who's playing alongside Patrice Bergeron. He's got 15 shots on net over his last 2 games, does Brad Marchand. And, he's taking on a Kings team who they're sure they've won like 5 or 6 in a row. They've been beating up on like Arizona. This is a team that's got the 5th worst penalty kill in the league. There's a lot of upside here for this Bergeron-Marchand duo. So I really like starting with those 2. I would make it like a pair here. Those 2 are the must plays. I think you need to start there because the Boston offense looks good. And I think they're going to catch the Kings well off guard tonight.
2 streaky teams. Bruins have won 4 in a row, Kings 5 in a row. And let's look at value tonight here. DFS still, of course, Geoff. And there's a former Bruin, Dougie Hamilton's in a really great spot for his club for New Jersey tonight. TJ Oshie is certainly well priced as well. So who do you like?
I do like TJ Oshie. I mean, Paul mentioned the Washington Capitals issues on defense. And I mean, it's true. Like their goaltending's not good, but I mean, like, let's talk about the Leafs for a sec, because their goaltenders can't stop anything. I mean, they essentially blew a 5-goal lead in last game. Yeah, they got bailed out by Auston Matthews and their offense, but this Leafs team right now, without Jake Muzzin, looks like they cannot stop a thing. And I think TJ Oshie being back, he's averaged over 19 minutes in his first 2 games. He's getting top line power play minutes alongside Ovechkin. I think Oshie's a very, very good value, just like a one-off play too at 3,600. And I mean, look, Elias Pettersson, for some reason, continues to get salaried under $5,000, like well under $5,000 at 4,400, taking on the Devils, who, I mean, they've allowed 4 or more goals in 7 of the last 9 games. It's a great matchup against the Devils. Their goaltending's one of the weakest in the league as well. So Pettersson, very efficient. He's playing like 15, 16 minutes a night, but averaging over 13 DraftKings minutes over his last 10 games. He's a great value too.
Whenever I'm here, I like to give Paul a ridiculous value play for the evening just to see how it goes. What do you think of Tyler Mott tonight?
There's too many other sweet ones on the board. I like that one, but not as much as the ones I'll mention. I mean, we've touched on a couple. Look at the NHL is not dominated by complete forward lines that are 1 through 3 awesome, but there's usually a guy that's a little weaker than the other 2 guys, at least on paper. And we touched on one already in Jake DeBrusk. He's got right wing minutes on that top line, disrespected at $3,300. He's got 4 goals in his last 4 games played in that spot. And tonight looks like a great opportunity again. And Michael Bunting is making a case to upset rookie scoring voting this year. He's 26 years old and he qualifies as a rookie. And he's leading them among goal scorers because he's playing with the big boys in Toronto. He's priced at $5,000. We mentioned Elias Pettersson. I agree with Geoff. This is a total disrespect for a guy who's one of the best talents straight up in the entire league. $4,400. He's got his game together with 14 points in his last 10. And Nico Hischier on the other side, similarly profiled low for my money and DK's money, $4,200 for a guy who's got 9 points in his last 10 games, playing top 6 minutes in power play there. There's a lot of great value below the 5,000 mark tonight.
All right, so that's DFS. How about DraftKings Sportsbook? Pablo, we'll stay with you, my man. Canucks Devils, is there a favorite bet within this game for you?
It's a bit of a toss-up, but I like the way Vancouver's playing more than I do Jersey. The Canucks are 7-3, while the Devils are 3-7. That's enough for me to go to the money line and say take the plus 105 over there. I think the better goaltending and defensive structure in Vancouver makes me lean in that direction.
Geoff?
Yeah, Vancouver coming off like a game last night, you always worry a little bit about that, but both of these teams are really hard to trust. The Canucks have been super up and down, but it looks like Thatcher Demko has bounced back. And the Devils, who knows what you're getting from their goaltenders? They might score 5 goals, but allow 8 again. And the Canucks offense has looked pretty good of late. We just finished talking about Pettersson a lot. So I pretty much on the same page as Paul here. This one took me a little bit longer to get on, but I think there's definite value with just taking the Canucks at the money line. If you're looking at the player props for this one, I don't mind Dougie Hamilton to score a point either. He's minus 105. His minutes are only going to go up. And the Canucks do have the worst penalty kill in the league. So Dougie Hamilton to score a point looks like good value in the player props.
Moose, we were talking about TJ Oshie before in that Leafs-Caps game. What about a favorite bet for you within that one?
Yeah, I think you can keep targeting TJ Oshie here. I don't mind about minus 150 to go over 1.5 shots on goal. Again, he's played over 19 minutes in his last 2 games. The Leafs, obviously a weaker defense. I think that's a fine prop, even at those lower odds. But I look at this game, and again, I'm not really sure if I want to trust the Capitals. I mean, they have the similar issues to the Leafs, but I think Alex Ovechkin to score a goal tonight at plus money is fine. Plus 100. We know the Leafs are going to let some goals in. Whether they end up outscoring the Capitals, you guys can figure that out. I'll just stick with the player props in this one. I'll go Ovi to score a goal, and I'll go Oshie over 1.5 shots on goal.
Well, we couldn't possibly not talk Leafs with Paul when he's here. Look at that logo right next to his left ear. What do you have tonight?
Well, you know what? You got to hammer the over here. So Adam, I like to go to the alternate total goals in a situation like this. I don't see how they stay under 7.5. That'll pay 230. So I think that's one of the best bets on the whole slate tonight. The Caps, I believe Ovechkin gets really fired up for games against Toronto and Montreal. He knows there's a national audience here that wants to see him, and he wants to put on a show, and he often does. He has one of the best points per game against Leafs as compared to any other team in the league. And yet you see the Leafs play a game against Minnesota, 2 teams with high octane offenses. They shut each other down. So do we really know what to expect? No, but odds to me favor a shootout tonight. So I'm going to take the over big time here.
I mentioned earlier, something's got to give between the Bruins and Kings, both these teams entering the game with winning streaks, Paul. So favorite bet for you in this one?
I think the Bruins are just a better team, and they have a better defensive structure than the Kings right now. Kings have been playing fairly well on the season, but their game slipped a little bit. I think the Bruins are going the other way, so I'm leaning on them. I take them minus 1.5 for a plus 195 payoff on the puck line tonight.
Moose?
Yeah, we're definitely on the same page in this one. No, I'm not going to go fancy with any props or anything. It's just Bruins straight up money line minus 125. The Kings, I get it. Like, the only reason this line is even this close is because the Kings have won 6 in a row. But those wins, go back and check who they beat. There's no one of note. I think the Coyotes are in there twice. There's a couple other weak teams. The Kings have the 5th worst penalty kill in the league. They don't have a good power play. They're going to get demolished on special teams here with Marchand back. Jeremy Swayman is also very good on the road. If you look at his road splits, the Bruins are 16-4 over the last 20 games on the road. I like the Bruins at minus 125 here. It's my favorite bet of the night.
All right, well, let's take it home here with this one. Slate approved pick, favorite bet on the board tonight, Geoff. Anything across the DK Sportsbook, obviously in the NHL category. Who is it?
And obviously, spoiler alert, I just let the cat out of the bag, but I do like the Bruins money line at minus 125. I think Paul is right. You could actually go to the puck line here at plus 195 if you want to take the extra risk. That's up to you, but I think the Bruins are definitely like the side to be on. Again, Swayman, excellent road record, 7-2-2 in 11 road starts this year. He's been hot of late. The Bruins offense is picking up. The rolling 2 lines again. I think the Kings are going to get overwhelmed here.
Paul?
You know what? I think I'm going to take a look at a special bet that I kind of thought was kind of neat. Looking at the sum of all 3 games, the line is set at 17.5 total goals. That's an average of less than 6 for the 3 games. I don't see how a couple of them stay anywhere close to 6. So even though it's only a minus 130, I think that's the way I'm going to go tonight for maybe the easiest money on the board tonight. I think there's going to be a couple of shootouts.